All right. Hey, guys. Justice Egan here. Super excited today to be recording another edition of what we've called our seven-figure shift interview series. And today is a special one because I get to sit down and interview my good bud, my mentor, Ray Higdon, somebody who's had probably as big or the biggest impact on me in this industry even before he knew who I was. I mean, just his consistency alone was like enough for me to be like, hey, unless you're more like Ray, you don't deserve to to have your excuses or your complaining or any stuff like that. I mean, just the fact that you shut up in my inbox every day when I was, getting started was a huge example set. And I mean, I don't even, I could go on and on, earn seven figures in network marketing, right? Earn seven figures in affiliate marketing, earn seven figures in your own stuff. Incredible coaching, incredible coach. You've got an incredible coaching brand out there with Top Earner Academy. And I mean, the list just kind of goes on and on. You've crushed almost anything that you've touched. And I couldn't be more excited about to have you on here and do this interview with you.
Man, I need to take you around with me. What a great introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, before we get going, I just want to say thank you because what you've done, both in the advice that you've given me, in the training that you've provided, but just the example that you've set. I mean, that that at the beginning was unbelievable. And sometimes, we always say you never know how many people are watching you, right? Like, and
Right.
I know that you've got an incredible audience, but it's like you just don't know who that person is that's watching you show up every day and who's inspired by it and who's being impacted by it. And I was one of those guys. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. So the question at hand here, something we've been sitting down. Seven-figure earners, basically that's been the benchmark to be in this interview series, and we appreciate you taking the time because we know how valuable your time is. The question we've really wanted to know for our students, is as entrepreneurs, we're all kind of pushed to the limit at some point, right? There's some point where it just feels insurmountable. It feels like your back's against the wall. I mean, everybody has that moment that was like the pinnacle moment, right? And some people have those multiple times in their life that they could identify. But what we'd like to know is, what was that moment for you? When it felt insurmountable, when you were really tested, to the extreme, and what were some of the things you did or some of the understandings you came to that helped you turn things around and become as successful as you are en route to where you've come today?
Absolutely. I'm just muted my mic because my dogs are about to go crazy. I've had a few of those times over my career. I mean, I think the one that would be most applicable is, when I'd been doing really well with real estate and just crush it. I left a high-paying corporate salary to get into real estate and be a real estate investor, buy rental properties, and turn houses and things like that. And I knew I was in trouble when the market started to change. My deals started not going through. I still had tons of money going out, and so I just getting clobbered from all angles. And then you've probably heard me say share this before, but it was that. Ring of the doorbell at my house, and I was having some family over, had my mom over, and the guy at the door gave my mom my foreclosure papers, and that was probably that was definitely one of my worst days ever, and in that I was already personally just feeling like I'd lost it, I felt like I had something, and whatever that something was, it was gone. I mean, I just lost it, and that was bad enough. But now my mom, who went through so many struggles, with me, and went through a divorce with my dad, and was, I didn't get to live with her until I was 12, and she really did so much for me. And here I am laying all this guilt on her, and so it was the reason I see that as a turning point. Is for about maybe a year, something like that, I had been, pretty depressed, You know, I'd been pretty bummed out. I didn't really share that with people. But when that day happened, it kind of turned me from depression to anger. And I was really pissed off about the situation. I was pissed off that I'd let myself get to that point. And, you know, I'm someone that I've always had obstacles. I mean, I don't recall anything I've ever done that has ever come easily, but I've never allowed that to be an obstacle. I've always cranked away at whatever that was and made it work, and you know, and eventually got good at whatever I wanted to get good at. And I had let myself to get into a state that I hadn't been in for a really, really long time, probably since high school, of just a depressive, you know, not making things happen state. And so, you know, I kind of looked at that day, and that needed to happen. You know, it really, that pain of that day, that embarrassment, that feeling that I added guilt, you know, that I added overhead and negative thoughts to my mom, that day needed to happen because, you know, it wasn't too long after that, you know, I started turning things around.
And I mean, you talked about like that was the huge trigger for you. I mean, that it was pain. You know, that moment of like that level of pain and disappointment in yourself. You know, just turned into anger. You know, and you got moving. And I mean, I've come to you at points in my business, being that you've been such a mentor to me. You know, and I've said, hey Ray, you know, how did you do it? You know, because you know, I've had some moments in my business where I feel, you know, in my own version of that place, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, how did you do it? How did you turn it around? I mean, what was, you know, obviously the anger is a great catalyst, but I mean, where did things go from there? I mean, what did you do every day to just stay out of that place? Because it's so easy, you know. I know, you know, in my moments where I've, you know, felt I was being tested, and I know sometimes I've charged out, you know, on high, you know, I'm going to do it, and then it's like that thought creeps back in, that negativity creeps back in, that depression creeps back in. You know, what was it that just kept you, you know, moving forward and not falling back into that place?
You know, a few things. You know, one, you know, with how I was doing real estate, there were definitely some smart things about it. And at the end of the day, what did I really want to become in real estate? I wanted to become someone that was respected and someone that added value. I mean, that's really what I wanted to become. I wanted to become someone that, you know, when I went somewhere, they would say, you know, and it was real estate related, they'd say, oh, that's that guy. That's that guy that does all that, you know, stuff for real estate. You know, and so I had some good ideas around real estate. I just I didn't adapt, you know, to the market. So what I did was, you know, when a little bit after that period, you know, I had a couple other things. You know, I reunited with my dad after not, you know, talking to him or seeing him for 13 years. I had a couple other things that, but I really, the reason I look at the mom foreclosure paper incident as a trigger point is I believe a true trigger point lines up other trigger points. And, you know, so I think that day, I believe that day lined up me reuniting with my dad. That lined up me getting invited to a home meeting and actually going, right? You know, I'd been invited, you know, to all kinds of different meetings.
Yeah.
The funny thing about this, very few people know this, the company, the home meeting that I went to on July 15, 2009, someone had already told me about that company before. I don't think he's my friend anymore, but because I went on to become the number one income earner in the company. But I didn't pay attention, right? Sometimes you need that kick in the shin to force you to look at things a little bit differently. And when I believe when you're truly ready, for that new life, things line up for you. And so it was an alignment that all of a sudden I'm you know, reuniting with my dad, which has nothing to do with business, but has everything to do with business.
Yeah.
Okay? Because when you have that past baggage that, you know, you don't think about, but it's always there, it fills up your future. It blocks you from creation. And so I had that. And then, you know, to be invited to that home meeting and go there and like it and join and take it from there. And so, you know, we're constantly noticing that in our business now. You know, I was out at a so let me get back to the question. The answer is I had a new vision. I had a new vision of who I wanted to become. I had a vision that I wanted to be in network marketing what I had hoped to be in real estate, to create a body of work that demanded respect and added value to a profession as a whole, right? And so that's the vision that started pulling me to do things that I didn't necessarily, wasn't that thrilled to do, but it pulled me to do them anyway. And it's still, to this day, it still pulls me. And so it's just a different kind of pull now. Like we've just had some really, just wild things. Being connected with the right advertising team, being connected with the right phone team, being connected with the right mastermind and the right mentors and coaches. Things keep aligning themselves to pull us to that next level constantly, and that's where we keep our eye on that prize. We don't keep our eye on the prize of all the problems we had. We don't keep our eye on all the obstacles that we've overcome or pending obstacles. We keep our eye on where we want to go and who we want to become.
That's amazing, and I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've stepped back and kind of revisited that advice from you. Anytime I found myself in a situation where maybe my headspace isn't where it needs to be. I mean, the first thing I do is ask myself, are you really focusing on where you're going? Are you really focusing on what you want? Are you revisiting that every morning and every night? Or are you sitting around focusing on whatever challenges you're facing? Because, I mean, everybody's going to face challenges, right? I mean, every single person out there. I'm sure you face challenges at a level, business challenges, that a lot of people can't even fathom when your business gets to a certain point, and, I mean, they're just kind of, it's part of life. I mean, in the challenge where people are going to see this, I mean, one of the biggest calls to everybody at the beginning was to accept the fact that adversity is a given. Accept the fact that it's going to be there.
Yep.
It's unavoidable. So yeah, I mean, any parting words, any piece of advice you would give challengers who maybe are following some of the basic activities, but don't feel the breakthrough yet, or maybe
Sure.
still have a little bit of doubt?
Yeah, a couple pieces. Number one, stop trying for the shortcut. Stop striving for that. When I got serious about this profession, I embraced the word until. I was going to do this thing until, and I was prepared to run at brick walls nonstop for years and years and years and years. I didn't know what was behind a little bit of concentrated focus and effort. I didn't know, right? And so I would say, really embrace the word until. Right now, maybe you're, because of your past or because of your, non-focus on education or habits or whatever, right? It may take you a while. All I can tell you is it's going to be worth it. And, the other word is despite. Succeed despite. I can assure you there's going to be people that have it tougher than you that go out and succeed anyway. You can too. Anyone can. It doesn't matter your past. When you enter into network marketing or even internet marketing, you can create whatever you want to create from wherever you are, regardless of your past and regardless of your future obstacles, which there will be some. And so my suggestion is stop cheapening the process by thinking that you're going to have miraculous results in 30 days if you've never had miraculous results in 30 days. Okay, so just keep at it, keep going. And all I've learned, in my life is anytime my results aren't what I want, it's 100% linked to my habits. And so I just simply look at my habits and I say, oh, okay, I just need to tweak those habits. I don't sit there and look at the results and I'm, oh, no, my habits created those results. I made my bed, now I'm sleeping in it, right? So if my recruiting has ever gone down, if my sales have ever gone down, if anything has ever, gone in a way that I didn't want it to go, it's not luck, it's not astrology, it's not, anything, right? But my habits. That's the only thing. And so you can control your habits. Now that being said, I'm not saying that you have to work, 10 to 12 hours a day. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that you need to be consistent every day. And people always ask me, they say, well, Ray, how many videos do I need to do a week? And it's like, okay, well, if you want a six-pack, how many days a week do you need to go to the gym? Well, one's better than none, okay, so congrats on that one, right? Two a week is better than none, right? Congrats, but you said you wanted a six-pack. Oh, then you need to go every day. And same thing with value. You need to be pumping value into the marketplace every day if you want that six-pack of business success. And that would be my suggestions.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Ray, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I mean, that is more than enough for everybody to chew on and digest, and I highly recommend you watch this multiple times. It's amazing. I pull something away new every time when you're speaking, even if it's something maybe I've heard you say before. I might receive it a little differently now. Based on what I've experienced, and so guys. Ray, thank you so much. Everybody, you can find Ray at rayhigdon.com. Any place else you'd like them to check out, Ray? I mean, that's it's your monster blog over there.
Sure. Yeah, and hit me up on Facebook, facebook.com/Ray Higdon page. We got, I think, depending on when you roll out this recording, we'll probably be over 100,000 fans. So we'll see you over there and connect with you over there too.
Awesome. Thanks so much, bud. Guys, we'll talk to you very soon.